Alright, what up everybody? It's your boy Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. Continuing with more scout reports on players headed towards the 2014 NFL Draft. For today, I'm going to talk about Will Sutton, the defensive tackle coming out of Arizona State University. He had a good career as a Sun Devil. But let's talk a little bit about his history. He's hailing from Corona, California, went to Centennial High School, in which he was actually teammates with All-Pro linebacker Vontaze Burfict from the Cincinnati Bengals and Nebraska quarterback Taylor Martinez, in which all three of these players led their team respectively to a state championship, and he had a great career as a high school player and ended up going to Arizona State, in which he had an outstanding career as a Sun Devil. Two-time Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year award back in 2012 starting, and then in this past season, back-to-back years 2012 and in this past year in 2013. Now in 2012, he had some eye-gouging numbers: 63 tackles, 23 and a half tackles for loss, and 13 sacks at the defensive tackle position, and sometimes he could even stretch as a defensive end. Now in this past season, his numbers declined: 48 tackles, 13 and a half tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. But that was because he was double teamed a lot, and he had to deal with more double teams and had to try to overcome them, in which he did have a hard time. Now I'm going to give you some strengths and weaknesses about this particular player headed towards this year's draft. Now he compacts the build that you want at a defensive tackle position, who has the natural leverage, who can build natural leverage advantage over offensive linemen at 6'1", 305 pounds. Now he's an outstanding player. He definitely gets behind that backfield, wreaks havoc in that line of scrimmage, and he also peels away from blocks using the spin move as well as rips. And as I mentioned before, he can even slide as a pass rusher at the defensive end position, but I strongly suggest he should stick with the at the defensive tackle position because of his weight and his speed, which is a weakness. Now he does have great lateral agility to avoid cut blocks, and he possesses great explosive speed bursts, and he's very quick in short areas, which is a great thing because in between the gaps, he can still give you some great speed in between the gaps and even change the directions and use that excellent quick of explosiveness to cause problems in that line of scrimmage, which is more enclosed space, which is his specialty, which I do like about this particular player. Now some weaknesses is his size. I did mention he's 305, but he just needs to control his weight. That could be a little bit of an issue. And I mentioned his speed. He runs a 5'3", 640. Strong player, had 24 reps at 225 pounds, but he ran a 5'3", 640. Hopefully he can increase that a little bit. He does need to increase that because in the NFL, there's a huge difference in speed and in plays from the college football level to the National Football League level. That is a huge difference, and he's definitely going to have to increase that speed. That straight line speed is a major concern to me because he maxes out his speed very quickly, which is not a good thing. Yes, he does well in short areas, but when he's actually in the flat line, if you're looking at him to run down a player and chase a player from sideline to sideline, that is not going to do no good. A lot of these nifty running backs and receivers will definitely get around him, and even the quarterbacks, because of their speed, he maxes out his speed very quickly, which means he will be no good getting from sideline to sideline and even angle tackles down the field. That is going to be a major concern for me, and that's why I think he could be he actually lost his reputation of being a first-round pick of this year's draft. Now in 2012, everybody, including myself, had him as a good top 20 selection headed towards the 2013 NFL draft, last year's draft, but he decided to stay for another season, his senior year, and I don't really think that was a good decision because the numbers dropped. Yes, he had to deal with double teams a lot, which is a good thing because it leaves up open position for the players, for like the linebackers to step up and fill in the holes and help them get tackles. That is a good thing, dealing with double teams, but sometimes you still have to overcome those double teams, and that is a little bit of a concern for me. Now because of that speed, that's the main thing that I'm really worried about, because he's going to have a hard time getting from sideline to sideline. And only in that 2012 season, going back, that was the only season in which he had a consistent year, game after game. There will be times where he would have an outstanding play, but then he would disappear. He needs to be consistent game after game. That is a little bit of a concern to me, but I still think he could be a great second-round pick, late second-round pick, early third-round pick of this year's draft, and that's the grade that I'm going to give him. Now, next time I'm going to catch you guys is tomorrow, where I will give you another defensive scout report on a good defensive player for you guys headed towards this year's draft. I'll catch you guys then. Thank you for watching today's vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.